As we continue this series on boundaries, it's important to keep in mind that sometimes we face boundary-related challenges. The most common one, the pushback. This means when people push back on the new limits we set with them. Why does this happen? Oftentimes, boundaries can make people uncomfortable. Usually the discomfort comes from people who don't feel safe they can set boundaries themselves, or from those who have benefited from you having poor boundaries and see a new unfamiliar side of you, for example. Unfortunately, this can become clear when you start growing, changing, and making your life healthier and easier. Maybe you have experienced this before and wondered how to address it. Or maybe you've been setting new boundaries recently and think you might need to enforce them in the future. Whatever your situation, it's important to keep in mind that setting healthy boundaries is important and that they aren't up for debate. So how can you respond when someone pushes back on your boundaries? How can you enforce them and draw a line in the sand in a way that works for you? So number 1, be firm. Even if you're uncertain, speaking in a strong voice and maintaining eye contact with the other person will help you feel more confident. If you're having a text or an email conversation, for example, stick to a few talking points so you don't get derailed. Number 2, walk away or end the conversation. If the interaction reaches a point where you're arguing and getting nowhere, or the other person is proving either unable or unwilling to hear you, you have the right to walk away. Remember, this isn't rude, it's self-protective. And 3, affirm yourself. After the conversation ends, take some time to validate yourself, either on your own or with someone you trust. Remember, you're not wrong for asserting yourself, even if someone has tried to make you feel that way. Also remember that people don't always get it right away. And it's okay to not justify, defend, or explain yourself in hopes that it will get through. If the other person expresses a desire to understand your boundary, that is a different situation, of course. But either way, your number 1 priority in the situation is making sure you feel safe, heard, and can trust yourself. Okay, my high achiever friend, thank you for watching the 3rd video on boundaries. And by the way, I'd love to learn what stood out to you in this video, so feel free to leave a comment or send a private message to let me know. And take a look at my website, PamelaViascalosada.com, to learn more about who I am, what I do, how I can support you, and why it's important. Until next time, I wish you more clarity, ease, and joy.